welcome to our third episode of the Leon County Humane Society Rescue Podcast. We're going to go around the room, introduce ourselves once again, and then we'll get going on this month's topic. Or I guess we haven't really been able to do the last couple months because if you listen to our last podcast, we dealt with Pan Luke, but we're out the other side of that and ready to save some more lives. So my name is Katie Stryker. I'm the graphic design and marketing coordinator at Leon County Humane Society.
Hi, I'm April Ryder. I'm Director of Operations.
Hi, I'm Lynne Raham. I'm the Financial Administrator.
Hi, I'm Amy Raddar. I run the dog program.
Hey there, I'm Lisa Glunt, the Executive Director.
Hi, I'm Courtney Kendrick. I am the Volunteer Coordinator.
Awesome. So as you guys know, we had Pan Luke over the summer and we beat it. We reopened our office on September 9th, and since reopening, we've had 64 cat adoptions, and we only have a few, I want to say 5 Pan Luke survivors still looking for their home. So everybody was able to not only recover, but have a forever home, and that's largely on Courtney. Courtney has done an incredible job taking over cat adoptions, moving cats through the building, getting them out of isolation and into loving homes. Courtney, do you want to talk a little bit about that transition of getting them out of ISO and seeing them be able to flourish?
Yeah, it really helps to have multiple places where they can be moved to so we can kind of accommodate individual cats for their personal needs. For example, we have a room upstairs that we typically put older, more polite cats in just because they get along better, and it would be upsetting for an older cat to have to share a room with a teenager. So we've got kind of like a teenage room downstairs, and they get to be crazy and rowdy. And the upstairs room allows our more calm cats to be able to live in peace. We also have kennels in the lobby for individuals that need independent attention, particularly our scaredy cats, little ones that are adjusting to being around people and seeing people. In the lobby, they get to witness everybody throughout the day, so it helps them get used to people in a more passive way, while also getting individual attention from, for example, our cat socializing volunteers who come in and they just hang out with them and pet them and give them individual attention and care. And I think being able to get them out of the isolation and into that individual care wherever they are needed really helps make them more adoptable. And I was able to get a lot of our cases that weren't moving. I don't want to say unadoptable because they weren't unadoptable. They did get adopted, but more like they weren't getting the attention that they needed before because of the lockdown and quarantine that we're having. So I got a lot of our long-term residents out this past couple of months, and in addition to all of our teenagers that were still left over from not only kitten season, but from the quarantine itself.
And I have to say my favorite adoption, I think, was, it's hard, but maybe Kidder and Minnie.
Kidder and Minnie was a good one. Yeah. A family, I would say, came in specifically to look at one of our calico kittens. They had pets at home, so it would have been a good fit. However, they got distracted by this duo that we've had for a while, Kidder and Minnie, who we kind of bonded together. And it's harder to sell a bonded, and I say sell, I mean like to convince somebody to adopt a bonded pair. But when they saw one of them and they really liked her, and I was like, well, she has a best friend, and the other one came in and they saw how the two interacted, they couldn't resist, and they ended up adopting the pair over a calico kitten. So that was a really cool day.
And then Lisa, I know you've gotten really attached to all the Pan Luke kittens because Lisa took over a lot of their like medical care, and every day was in there with them, making sure that everybody was good, giving them what they needed, checking in with paws and claws. Who remains that you would love to see go home the most?
Oh, a bunch of friendly kittens. We've got Whiffy and Laura.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say Whiffy.
Yeah,
she's so cute.
They're so friendly, so fun. But I think we're down to all just teenage kittens that are remaining from that. I was actually going to say my favorite adoption, I think that you arranged was Dawn and Smurfette over the last couple of months because
yes.
they came in as probably the two shyest of all the Panluke cats, especially Dawn. I mean, the first couple of weeks I thought for sure this cat's going to end up having to be a barn cat, but after several months she came out of her shell, and then the two of those, they just bonded so hard. So to not only see two adult cats adopted together, but to see two kind of initially recluses come together and live with their best friend, that was a really cool one to see. But I agree, you've done a great job in really kind of giving these cats what they were missing for a while. And I think that the kitty care socializers that have been coming in, the volunteers, have done tremendous work with them as well.
Or how are you on kitty care socializers? Like, is that...
So during our last volunteer meeting, we do one monthly meeting every month at the end of the month. And during the last one, I was able to show statistics of the increase in cat socializers that we had. Since last month, we have doubled the number of cat socializers, which correlated to doubling the number of hours that we had committed to cat socializing. And I think that directly showed a much greater outcome for our cats, especially the kennel lobby cats. There was like one day, I think it was last week or the week before, where 3 different kennels all started talking on the same day. And if you're unfamiliar with cat behavior, if a cat is starting to meow at you, that is specifically for a human. It's a very good sign that they are getting more comfortable and they are looking for comfort as an authority or even a caretaker for them. So it's really cool to see, like, all at once, everybody's starting to unwind. And I do think that more cat socializers this month has helped, for sure.
Yeah, if you haven't been to our office recently, we have 4 kennels that have cats that were taken from a hoarding situation where they were really poorly socialized, and we thought they were going to end up being barn cats. A couple of them are still coming along, but for the most part, they've done a complete 180 from where they started. They are like actually asking for affection now. It's really great.
And I have to apologize for the background noise. We're having some construction done. This is always a work in progress, this place.
I don't think you have to apologize. I mean,
Acknowledge.
We're getting our ramp replaced, which makes it, it's very important for ADA accessibility, and it's worth a little noise, I think. And then next topic that we're going to move on to is our Proctor Subaru dog adoption event. It was super successful. We had 29 adoptions. Amy, do you want to talk a little bit about how that went?
Yeah, I think that it was, I was very pleased with it. We had a good variety of big, small, young, old, which I always try to do there. And because this year has been trying in the rescue world, it was a pleasant surprise to be able to find homes for that many animals, that many dogs.
Was there an adoption that stuck out to you at that event?
Yeah, only because, he was my favorite, and that was Dax. We put a lot of time and energy into Dax, and he was a challenging dog because he's so smart. Like, he's a beautiful dog, and he's also super intelligent. He definitely wants to be with his people at any cost. So I really loved the lady who adopted him. Also, he could go to work with her. She lives in an apartment, which normally wouldn't be a good thing for a dog that big, but it was the perfect scenario for him because he wants to be with this person. So walks instead of a yard where he'd just be let out is perfect for him. There were several really good ones, but for me personally, Dax was the one.
Yeah. Dax was a good one. I mean, for me, Bella, but I understand.
Yeah.
How long had Bella been with us?
Oh, like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was a return. Remember that she was adopted.
She was.
Being a return.
Yeah, she came a long way in that foster home.
And she was the biggest surprise for me in a while when we got her back, because when they returned her, she came with a list of behavior problems to then later find out it just was her environment, and that she, like, given the opportunity, she flourished. Like, she was not bad with dogs. She was great with other dogs. She was great with cats. She loved cats. All that was told, that we were told when she was brought back, that she wasn't that way. Great for children. So yeah.
She just didn't have her needs met. Her energy level wasn't accommodated.
And she was an average looking dog.
Yeah.
That should matter, but sorry, it does. And that's why we had her. She was, higher energy too. So that, that didn't help her plight, but she was a great dog. And yeah, I'm super happy to her that she got.
And I mean, touching on dogs like Bella that get returned, not to put a damper on what was an incredibly successful and appreciated and wonderful event, but how many dogs were returned following them?
Mainly puppies, because I think people get drawn in by the cuteness of a puppy, but they don't stop. It's usually an impulse adoption because of the cuteness. You cannot save some people from themselves. And when you do talk about the work and the patient signs to go into a puppy, you can tell them all day long, but until they experience it, and they don't really understand. And some people take the attitude, I'm going to put in the work. And then some just can't handle it. And so we had 3 return within the first week after the Proctor event. So that was a little discouraging because, again, you can't save people from themselves.
Well, it's hard too because you don't want them to wait until the puppies aren't puppies anymore. You want those to come back quick, but you also dogs take time to settle in and learn just the routine of the house and to get used to everything and to make, for everybody to get onto the same page. That can take months.
Yeah, and we do counsel people on it, but for instance, one of the puppies was returned. The reason that was given, which I don't know if it was the real reason or not, I have no idea, but the reason that was given to me was they were not financially able to take care of the puppy. Well, they adopted the puppy on Tuesday, and they tell me this they adopted the puppy on Saturday, and that was their reasoning on Tuesday. So I don't understand how you can be financially able on Saturday, but not on, that just dawns on you that you're not financially able. So I feel like maybe, that wasn't a good our decision. That probably wasn't thought through. But I mean, we do counsel people, but that's, to me, something you shouldn't have to counsel somebody, a grown person. You should know whether you're financially capable of taking care of a puppy before you make that plunge.
I feel like, though, that's sometimes the drawback of doing events, because events tend to have a higher number of adoptions than would normally have happened that day, but some of them are impulse adoptions. And I mean, we see the same thing at the cat cafe.
Yeah, it is what it is.
We've got fewer.
That's a good example, though, of we get contacted so often to do adoption events by businesses because it sounds like fun. And, there's obviously going to be, they want to see the benefit for the animals, but they also want that benefit for the business because that could be exciting. But I think Proctor Subaru, that's why we really have so limited events that we do, is because at the end of the day, they do it well with us in the planning process and everything.
And they promote so well, and they also have so much information and resources available too. They take it really serious.
They definitely did another great one for us there. But I wanted to go back to Bella really quick and just give a shout out to her fantastic foster, Amanda, who stood by her through all that. Still welcoming other foster dogs while she had Bella. Still dealing, at one point, she even took in a few ringworm foster kittens for us when she had Bella. I mean, that's a testament to, it's hard to find good fosters that will really just stick it out. Not everybody's able to do a high energy dog like Bella. But man, we have some fosters that just go above and beyond. And that was a great example right there.
She's incredible, and she just does whatever she needs to do to make it work. If she has to add a baby gate, if she has to, change her house up a little bit, but it ends up making such great dogs. I mean, now Bella is great with cats. She played with her cat, great with other dogs, which we thought that she wasn't. So just being able to go that extra mile and make changes to your routine, I think that's one of the hardest things to find with fosters is just people willing to make changes to their routine to accommodate their new pet.
And that's what we're asking of every adopter.
Yeah.
Yes.
But no, Amanda went above and beyond, and I know Bella's grateful. I saw a picture of her cuddled on the couch with the kids, so
That was such a great picture.
yeah, she's having a good life. Yeah.
That's the one. Pictures like that, people don't realize those are the ones that get you through the hard days. Like,
You pull that up to remind you on a day where stuff goes
yeah,
wrong.
I have like 3 or 4 of those pictures on my phone, and I'm having a really crappy day, and I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I pull up one of those pictures, and I'm like, yeah, I can do this another few days.
All right, you heard it here. If you have a picture of your adopted pet, please send it to us.
It really does.
That keeps us going. Speaking of, I guess we finally have to get to our famous crazy dog, Trooper. Gosh, where to begin? If you guys haven't already been following our posts on Trooper, please check out our Facebook page because there's no way I could cover it in a single podcast. Amy, do you want to talk a little bit about the night you were called to go get Trooper? I know it feels like forever now.
Oh, yeah. No, it's honestly like years. I was actually asked early on to take Trooper, although they didn't know. Wasn't given the information, and or anything about it, and just that there was a dog like on the side of 75, and they were looking for a place, and would I take it? And it was actually a foster that contacted me, and I said, yeah, I just need a little bit more information so I can put that dog in an appropriate situation. And then an hour goes by, the foster texts me back and said, hey, they found a place for him, it's all good. And I was like, great. That was probably maybe like 5 o'clock that day. Around 9 o'clock that night, I got a call from
The governor's.
from someone from the governor's office. I think Katie. And she just said, hey, have you seen this? You know, we have a dog. She told me a little bit about him, sent me pictures, said that it was in Tampa, but they were because of the storm, they were transporting the dog up here. They really didn't have a place for him to go. He was stressed out, and could I take him? I said, yes. I posed the question if she wanted me to get him that night or in the morning, and she said, if you could do tonight, that would be great. So we arranged to meet at the emergency management office. We met in the parking lot, and I got him and took him home. She told me that he was super overwhelmed with, just a lot of people around him. So my goal was to just take him home, put him in a kennel and let him decompress because he was definitely a little wound up. He had been to the vet's office. I didn't at that point know the whole story. I just knew that where he had been and that he had done a long traveling that day. So I was like, I'm sure he's tired. So I took him home, put him in a kennel and just let him chill for the night. And I just took him out every 2 or 3 hours until we went to bed. He was very non-responsive. He let me leash him. I walked him out on the leash. He did his business and we walked back in, but that was kind of all that he would give me that night. The next morning I got up, took him out, fed him, he didn't eat. So I just gave him his space. And then that evening was when I started to see a little bit of his personality, and I kind of figured he was going to be okay at that point. I sent pictures to Lisa. We don't know how you use that phone to Katie, but
I ruined it. I took a good thing and I made it horrible.
That's when it got started. Just it.
No, I mean,
the rest is history.
The rest is history. So Amy's doing all this, just her casual life-saving stuff after hours, late at night. And the next day, during business hours, Lisa calls me to catch me up. And at this point, I've seen the video of this poor dog stuck on that fence being rescued. Everyone's seen the video. And I was like, that's absolutely insane. How is it possible that that dog is actually here? We need to tell people that he is safe and that we've got him and he's good and his future is bright. And I, to this day, don't know if we should have just kept it our little secret. I don't know, because once word got out, it was insane. And I mean, it got better. I like where we're at now. I like that people care about him. And I mean, that's what I wanted. I wanted people to know he was safe and in good hands. But
I agreed with that. Like there were a lot of people at that point that was, number one, just horrified that would be done to a dog. They were concerned about his well-being. There was also a lot of like stories up in the air about where he was. And
yes, there was a lot of misinformation.
Yeah,
people were posting that he was returned to his owner. People were getting angry about that. And like nobody actually knew where he was.
So I agree with that. Like we didn't have a choice, but to like it would have not been right for us not to let people know that he was okay.
But the first day was rough. I don't think that I was expecting. I mean, no, you're good. Sorry, we had somebody knock on our door for assistance, and Courtney is being a very good sport, even though our office is closed, and providing assistance. So if you hear some noise, again, we're sorry, but
The show must go on.
the price of doing business, guys. But I think the thing that really threw me off is because there was so much misinformation out there was like the initial reaction to us saying that we had Trooper was not the nicest.
Not supportive.
It was not supportive. We got a lot of accusations that we were lying, and I did not expect that. I've never been accused of lying to solicit donations before. That was wild. And like just so outside the realm of what I would consider. I would never.
Why would a rescue lie about that?
Why? Yeah.
But then
it makes me worried about what is happening out there.
No, there are some things we learned about after the fact, like people creating theoretically a coin, a
Bitcoin.
a Bitcoin of some kind that was supposed to fund Trooper that we never authorized or participated in.
No.
And there are lots of ways for people to piggyback on tragedy and fundraising.
Monetize people's concern in a way that is really icky.
Yeah. So firsthand, we've learned something. We've learned a few things.
We've learned a few things.
Yeah.
And all that matters at the end of the day is that Trooper is safe, but it has been very cool. We've heard from April, like what was the furthest that we heard from that someone messaged us and offered support?
Well, California, I think, is so far. But then actually, I should say the UK. We had...
in Japan?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't... Did you get a Japan?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get the... Okay. Yeah.
Just a thank
Germany.
you.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And the football player was...
A former football player who... and football with an F. or a F-O-O-T. Football. Yeah, he used to play in the United States and really was very appreciative of what we had done. So sent his support as well as a donation.
It was kind of crazy to see the reach that Trooper had, for sure. It still has.
I mean, he's not an unhandsome dog. He's quite a handsome dog.
He is very handsome. Not only that, he is super calmful. He has personality plus for sure.
It has been kind of hard to see him get all of this attention and know that we have so many deserving dogs that have had stories just as compelling as Trooper. Like Teddy, for example, I think is just as compelling, just as cute, and just as much of a goofball.
Just as big a personality.
Just as big, yeah. Mm-hmm. Even though he's little. Do you think it's the breed?
I think a lot of it is. I think some of it is the breed. I think some of it was his story. Like, it's hard for people to believe. I mean, we have to realize, I have to step back sometimes and remind myself that I hear and see more than the average person out there. And so, a lot of people out there don't know what the atrocities or the horrible stuff that happens to animals on a And so it's, just because we see it, we can't expect other people to know about it. So I think a part of it was the fact that, oh my God, how could somebody do that to an animal? And then I think some of it was his breed. I think the fact that, I think it was just a whole story. It was the trooper that went out of his way to find this dog, in the midst of everything that was going on, I'm sure, on 75.
And was so brave to interact with that dog.
Yes.
And patient. Yeah, and very patient.
I think it was a magnitude of things, who knows, real.
Who knows what the recipe is.
I do think part of it is, that the governor took note of it. And he was phenomenal. That was so good of him. And to actually put out there that this is not okay. We don't do this as a society. We don't do this. So I think people took note of that too, and that fed into it.
Yeah. Do you think that it will make an impact on future? Because I know we hope that a lot of people face consequences. No, Bean.
I mean, I definitely think it should. I hope, my hope, obviously, is that it makes an impact. I think that we definitely need tougher laws.
It's just doing business, guys.
As soon as you set up a recording.
It's like getting on the phone. That's what my dogs bark and carry on and want to show their rears. I think that we as a society need to start paying attention to the fact that we need stiffer penalties for people who do horrible stuff to animals. That we need to understand there is a direct correlation between what they do, that people who do bad stuff with animals do bad stuff to people.
Well, I mean, even just taking the trooper case, leaving a dog on a busy highway during a hurricane evacuation didn't just put trooper in danger. I mean, that could have caused several accidents. If people had tried to be a good Samaritan and pull over and help, it could have caused a huge issue. It could have cost human lives, which is just not being able to see that far in the future, and a person being able to do that, I think, is worrisome in and of itself. But you're right. People that will be cruel to animals will absolutely be cruel to people.
Most likely will be cruel to people, and that we need to understand that we need tougher penalties. We need it to count. We need to say as a society, this is not okay. We're not going to tolerate it. And if you do this, you're going to be in big trouble. And back it up.
Yeah.
It's great to say it, but then if you don't do anything about it,
And this is just one example.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
If anything, I think I've learned a few things by having a new staff member around where, 10 years ago when I started in this work, I would receive a phone call, and that was something like that. I'd get a call about a puppy in a bad situation, and, it would break my heart, and it still hurts. But because we're so desensitized to it at this point, we've received so many of those calls. And in our line of work, we very rarely see someone get the penalty of the full extent of the law, or even the laws existing. So it is difficult. You do become desensitized. I hope Trooper is an example that opens people's eyes. But the plight is larger than just his.
Right.
Yeah.
And I hate, I love that he's been able to teach so many people about animal welfare and about this, but I hate it all resting on this one dog's shoulders. You know what I mean? He deserves to just have a normal life. There are so many people that want him to forever be the spokes dog. But I mean, I know our goal is just to put him into a normal home and let him live a normal dog life and be loved on.
He deserves that.
Yeah.
He deserves that.
But at the same time, he's acting as a great ambassador for all of the millions of other deserving dogs and cats. Many of whom will acclimate into their, adoptive home even easier than he will. So it's nice to have, a fresh face that's so recognizable. And you've done really well on that, on utilizing that so that he's not just impacting, the few people that see him, but he's making a big impact for other animals that need that exposure as well.
I mean, that is the goal. I mean, people that are a little fresher to it, like April was saying, that, aren't as desensitized. Hopefully they see this and they learn about all the other animals, and they, that's why we have the campaign, Tell 'em Trooper sent you, so that you can take Trooper's story and go to your local shelter, because we had so much attention from all over. We wanted to redirect people to doing good in their own communities, not just following Trooper's story, but learning other animal stories too. Does anyone have anything else to add on Trooper?
What have we not covered?
We have a surprise coming up with him, but we're going to leave that be a surprise.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm wondering, do we talk about how it did, it does raise money for us, but it's more so for other animals that it will help.
Yeah, I mean, Trooper did fundraise for us, definitely. Like, we got donations from that initial post where we put out that we had him. We got some donations from our T-shirts, Tell 'em Trooper sent you. But those, honestly, the support was incredible. We sold 166 T-shirts, I think, and it's been wonderful. It's been really great. But at the end of the day, those are smaller scale donations. They're not funding our organization. And I feel like some people are thinking that. They're like, oh, they have Trooper. They're just swimming in money. They're swimming in donations. Yeah. They're swimming in support. And respectfully, no. It's more telling his story and getting people involved and informed. I wish that were true. That would be excellent. But also...
No, but we really would be much happier if they would just adopt an animal.
We would. We would. If they would just go to their local shelter and adopt an animal, that would mean so much more than donating, than purchasing a T-shirt, but actually standing behind what you're saying and what you believe in, that animals deserve homes and that they don't deserve to be treated that way, and offering that physical, real support is what we want. I mean, that's our real goal, is just making lives better for animals and their people.
It's in our mission.
It is. So apologies again for the long break that we took between our Pan Luke episode and this one, but obviously we've been extremely busy. A lot's been going on, and we had to sort of right the ship when everything went wrong this summer. But now that we are back and we've gotten through yet another debacle, the Trooper debacle, we hope to be doing regular podcasts and continuing with this to continue educating, not just in Trooper's name, but in all of the animals that we interact with, and making sure that their stories are heard. And they're going to make sure they're heard.
Yes, they are. I hear them.
Yes.
That's Junie.
That's Junie. Junie's pretty special. Can we just talk about Junie for a minute?
Sure, I'll talk about Junie all day.
That's such a good boy. We've had Junie for, 6 months now.
Right.
I don't know.
I think 10 months. 10 months we've had Junie. And Junie came in. He was FIV positive. And we thought that he had scalding or issues on his thighs, but it turned out to be allergies. So we have now done an allergy treatment, and Lisa's been giving him those injections. Do you want to talk about what Junie has needed over the last?
But does Junie not take it? He is a stellar cat, though. He actually came in stray to one of the vet partners that we work with, and I don't know if his skin was even irritated initially, or if it just quickly came around.
It started to, and they thought it was they thought it was urine scalding because he was found in a. I don't remember the circumstances, but I think he was found in a carrier with pee.
Yeah.
And they thought it was urine scalding that was causing the issue. So it wasn't severe. They started him on antibiotics. It went away. It wasn't a big deal, but it came back pretty quick.
But he, aside from the allergy testing that Katie took him in for, and really kind of stood by him when he needed an advocate, because I think initially it was kind of being passed off as things that we see more often, just the scalding turned into a skin infection, potential ringworm maybe because of exposure. But as his skin declined, we did some allergy testing and found that he's allergic to just about everything, but it's manageable and he's done well. I mean, if you can be a cat doing well in a shelter environment around other cats and litter, dust, and pet hair, and all sorts, surely you can do even better at home. He's done well with his allergy injections, and he's kind of on the latter end of those where they're more spread out. Right now, it's every 10 days. But I think April's identified that a big set-off for him is food. He just really needs to be kept on a pretty strict diet. And
Certain proteins and wet
learned that because of her experience with her own adopted dogs and what she's gone through with them. But he is a deserving cat. He's so affectionate. His personality is like just to a T. He's incredible and so filled with joy. But ideally, getting him into a home environment, I think his skin is going to just thrive.
Yeah, and it's easy to manage. It would be much easier to manage in a home. Yeah. Yeah, he's so boy. Yeah, he doesn't need a lot.
Everything.
He just wants to be held and make biscuits.
Oh, he's so into him. And lunch at 3.
Lunch at 3. Every morning when I come in, he's just wanting to be held.
Yeah, he often gets a 3-mealer because I can't come in here and say no to him if that.
Weekends are little low bands. He deserves food.
He's a very cool cat. And he kind of is a good starter cat for somebody, too, because he doesn't have any of the idiosyncrasies that some catitude and shows up in other cats. He's just so agreeable.
If he didn't have the allergies, he'd be gone. He would have been adopted ages ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like he has to be on a special food. He just needs to be on wet food with a certain type of protein. And then he might benefit from having hypoallergenic covers on some pillows he sits on. And that's really it. It's all, I can.
Someone who wants to pet him.
Yes.
And listen to him purr and make biscuits and wants to be held like a baby.
And kissed on the nose.
Yep. And his tummy rubbed even.
Uh-huh.
He keeps his litter box very clean. I'm very tight. He is.
He's a good boy.
He's the best boy. That will be.
Someone come break my heart and take him home.
Yes.
We'll take Harry home as well because he's next door buddy and he's incredible in every way.
I don't know. Do you notice that's the FIV cats that are always just so wonderful and so sweet? Is
incredible. And again, makes friends with all the other cats.
Yeah.
Allows anything and everything into his room. Allows dogs in there with him. And he's just such a friendly guy and
Big boy energy.
big boy energy. He does. Fat little cheeks.
he's like full on little frat boy wrestler, I swear. He's so stocky and wonderful.
He is. He's got that big head. He's really pretty fat. And he's so sweet, so chill. He's probably, I love Jerry. But he's probably my favorite cat I'm built on right now.
And he doesn't mind baths either. He's amazing.
What kind of baths, Lisa?
So I could go.
He's too right.
He quite enjoys a good bath.
Yeah.
I'm going to have people really look through
Bubble bath.
You can always reach us for questions at info@leoncountyhumane.org, and we'll go into detail.
We're going to turn over to Katie.
Yeah.
I can that. She can explain about it.
Happy to answer any questions anytime. But I think that brings us to the end of our podcast. I think this time we didn't give a favorite memory, but we gave a favorite cat. We were pretty split between Junie and Perry. Are there any other competitors?
We talked about favorite adoption.
We talked about favorite adoptions. We just usually end on a good note.
I mean, I have a daily favorite, but Junie's been ranking pretty high up there.
I mean, he's
for a
in
very
your
long
office.
time. He's my bud.
Yeah.
You know what? Saylor's been doing really good about being more open-minded on whose leg she's on. And it's really good to see that she's opening her options up. And She is taking adopter inquiries just in case you're in.
You can always see Perry, Junie, and Saylor on our website, leoncountyhumane.org. Just click adoptable cats and you'll see why we're obsessed with them pretty quickly, I hope. If you don't, you're wrong. They're amazing.
Can I end on one more good note?
Yeah.
Because when Amy was mentioning the pictures, like how just happy that makes you to get those updates. I just got one a few days ago from a foster dog of mine that was adopted earlier this year. And just for those interested in maybe fostering, but they haven't really gotten bitten by the bug yet, it really is a heartwarming, and like it's such a rewarding thing to do. And I just wanted to just quickly share this with you. I got this email update from a foster adopter, and this was a dog that was not an easy one, but they really this gentleman took on the challenge, but he kind of even begged for the challenge. And he said, just wanted to say thanks for letting me adopt Dinah. She's filled the spot that was left after losing my last dog, Pooh Bear. She loves our adventures on the water. And then I got to share this with you guys. She has a daddy with a boat. And he's
Now I know how to put a life jacket on a dog if I don't have a dog life jacket.
she does have a dog like
That's really cool.
The funniest one to me. So I just wanted to share that too.
And I can share this. I'll put a link in the comments on the video so that you can see Dinah in her life jacket because it's pretty cute. And with that, we've reached the end of our third podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening. And please feel encouraged to foster, to reach out to adopt, and to follow us on social media so that we can keep telling these stories.